Welcome back to the Cinderella Monologues Author Spotlight Series. I'm so delighted to be here with you. Oh my gosh, what an incredible event we're having, preparing for our book launch coming soon on October 22nd, 2022. So yesterday you heard from Irma, who was one of our early beta test readers and gave us a fabulous review and sort of an insider look at the Cinderella Monologues. And today we're going to be featuring one of our very first authors. I'm super delighted to bring her on today, but our question for discussion is, in keeping with the Cinderella theme, how many siblings did you grow up with? Yes. So what's the most number of siblings that you grew up with? Type it in the chats. We'd love to hear from you. So if you come from a large family, put that number in, and we want to engage in this discussion with you because Cinderella grew up with some stepsisters. So did you have step siblings involved in that number as well? So let us know. And please help me welcome today Evangelist Sandra E. Jackson, all the way from Indiana. She is known as a shiftologist. Yes, so stay tuned for what that means. And she's also the host of the Author Forum. And she's got an amazing offer for all of you today who want to be part of her upcoming November book tour. So got to stay tuned and watch to the end for those amazing links that we'll be dropping in as a resource for participating in our author spotlights and being part of this whole celebration for the Cinderella Monologue. So everyone, please help me welcome Ms. Sandra Jackson.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I am doing fantastic now that you're here. Welcome, Miss Sandra.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
So first things first, I gotta know, how did you come up with this moniker, the Shiftologist?
So it's called the Shiftologist.
Shiftologist.
Shiftologist. I came up with it. His name is Bert. His name is Bert. Mr. Bert told me when I explained to him certain things that I do and certain people's responses that I should be called a shiftologist. And so I think um, you just got a taste of what that term means just by us talking and dialoguing. So basically, I have been assigned to shift people from the place they are right now to the place God wants them to be. What does that mean? That means that there is a place you are stuck in right now, or a place that you're not aware of, or something that you should be doing that you have at your fingertips, but maybe you don't really know how to do it or what it is. Somehow, God allows me to shift you, to empower you, to make you feel like you belong and like you are a part of His plan.
That is amazing. So shift to where God wants you to be. Okay,
Yes.
excellent. And yes, Sandra, we were just talking in the green room and you totally shifted me to a place of possibility. So here I
Financial
am.
possibility.
Financial possibility and abundance, absolutely. So here I am, and you were able to just in a very quick dialogue able to capture like maybe something that was a god-given talent in me, and you showed that to me even as I talking about it. You showed that to me, and then you shifted me to this place of abundance and financial possibility. So I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome. To God be the glory. Yes.
Excellent. So I know you've got quite an interesting answer to the question of the day today. So how many siblings were in your household?
Not one, not two, not three, not five, not 10, 15.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I can only imagine the family reunions.
My mom and dad have 15 children, one parent, both of them, single parents. Um, they were married for 60 some odd years. And through their union, my mom birthed 15 siblings, and I am number 12. Yeah. And to boot, my mom was short in stature. She never raised her voice. She was a teacher. Um, Her professional trade was a professional seamstress. My dad was a bishop and a pastor of a church, and she helped him along with that. And she became a pastor of the second church because the church grew so large until he had another church in Sodus, New York. And so, yeah, my parents were awesome. I loved them to death. But um, I wrote a book entitled The Greatest Mother in the World about my mom because she was a woman you should know. And you can find that on Amazon.com. She had 15 children. She had 7 miscarriages. So the body is resilient, and the body can birth children because that's the plan and the will of God. And she did a tremendous job raising us, and she didn't allow us to argue or to fight, to call names, none of that. We grew up in a home where people would think it was a fictitious home because we didn't argue. We had lavish dinner meals. Like our home was a place where you felt safe. I can only speak for me though. So, all right. So I can't speak for anybody else in my, um, my children, my family. I will only speak for Sandra, and I can safely say I felt safe. I felt loved. My parents, they would travel a lot, and before they went out of town, we would meet in the garage, and we would hug and kiss and say goodbye and pray and all of that. So those memories are forever ingrained in my mind. They showed us what true love is, and what I realized in this world, not many people know what true love is. A lot of families didn't grow up with love, and so I think the problem in the world is that no one has taken the time to find out what true love really is. And I think we would do us a service if we would delve into that, and start loving ourselves first, because that's where it begins. And when you start loving yourself, like no matter what you've gone through, what you're going through, if you just stop what you're doing and begin to love on yourself, you would be the better for it. And everybody around you will be able to recognize the change and the shift. And so I'm shifting someone right now. Yeah. You may have grown up in a home where there was a lot of chaos and confusion and stress and pressure and all of that. Many people had. But I thank God that my home life was really it was it was healthy for me. And so we went to church um, Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Sunday night. All right. We went to church Wednesday and Friday, and that was every week. And so we learned a lot of the principles of life and how God wants us to be. And I try to instill that into my children, and I try to live accordingly each and every day.
Such an incredible story, Sandra. And I can only imagine being in such a large family. You're number 12 of 15, that sometimes attention, right, is misaligned, right? So maybe some child gets more attention than others, but you still felt devotion and love and care from your mom. Like you still felt like you got equal amount of attention.
I don't know about equal amount. She tried to divide it as best as she possibly could, but if you can imagine, that's a difficult thing to do. And even me, I'm the mother of 9 children, and it's trying. There's times where you pay more attention to this person or because maybe that person is craving attention, so you have to direct your attention there. But there was a time when I felt like I, I'm going to be honest with you. There was a time I felt when I was in high school that I told my teacher, I said, my parents don't love me. And she told me, this is what she told me. She said, Sandra, your parents love you. You never repeat an outfit. That's what she told me. So, and that was true. All right. So the way she correlated it, it may seem comical, but if your parents didn't love you, they wouldn't spend their money on you. It's what she's, trying to say. And that they cared so much about me until they made sure I went out of the house. Like, I dressed up. Everywhere I go, I dressed up. And that's from a little girl, right? So I dressed up to go to school. I wore full blown suits. Yeah, I wore high heels. I did the whole thing. And so she was able to put things in perspective for me. And we all need an accountability partner. So I got off of that. My parents didn't love me deal. And I know they loved me with all of their heart. And I'm appreciative that they showed such love until now I know how to love. And I can put that. I love all people, all shapes, all sizes. It doesn't matter. And that came from my home training. So yeah, I appreciate my parents. They both have deceased now. My mom was 71, and that's pretty young. And my dad was 86 when he passed away, just a few years ago. But they lived a full life. We even owned a limousine, and I chauffeured them around in their limousine because they were pastors, and they traveled out of town a lot. And so I was one of the drivers that was able to chauffeur them and take them from town to town and village, and that was a service. So I'm so appreciative for my life.
And how incredible that this teacher got to show you the lesson of the self image, that your parents took the time to make sure that your self image was intact.
Correct. That's
And
huge.
the way you portrayed yourself going to school and how you show up in the world. I mean, I think, wow, that is
Yeah.
incredible.
And believe it or not, I just went to New York, upstate New York, and I met with one of my teachers from high school, and we went out to dinner. Actually, I met with two of them, and Mrs. Chucky and Mrs. Hart, and they reminded me. So Mrs. Chucky said when I came, she was a new teacher on the scene, and so when she came into the classroom for the first time, she thought I was the teacher because I was dressed up. She said, Sandra, I'm telling you, when I walked in the class and saw you, you could not be the student. I was tall, and all of the students were short. I was tall and I had on high heels and I was dressed up. And she thought I was the teacher. So we're friends to this day. And she just purchased my book. And that did my heart good. Yeah,
That sounds like a fairy godmother.
exactly.
Now, did I hear you correctly? So, not only did you grow up with 15 siblings, but you also birthed 9 children of your own.
Correct.
Wow. So, how did themes of family and your faith and upbringing tie into the Cinderella stories,
Oh my
Cinderella
gosh.
monologues,
That's
with
an
your
excellent.
chapter?
Yes, so that's an excellent question. And my chapter is from wealth to poverty to abundance. And abundance doesn't necessarily have to be financial. All right. So I want you to open up your mind and just know from wealth. I grew up in a family that had wealth. My parents were pastors, and he owned real estate, like 2 blocks of real estate back in the day. And so that afforded us great living. We had lavish homes. We lived in the state of the art homes, and we traveled. We did everything, right? My parents were home. And so we ate dinner every night at 3 o'clock in the evening. I know that sounds early to some people, but that's the perfect time to eat because then you get to digest your food before lying down. So I appreciate that time. 3 o'clock was perfect for me. I have a quote, and my favorite quote is, I'm still, my favorite quote is I am ecstatic to be alive, and I pray to God you are as well. And so, to answer your question, I had childhood bliss in my home, and in my chapter, I talk about growing up. I talk about being bullied in high school. I talk about our lavish meal times, family time. We had a lot of family time. I talk about home training because it is important, um, to be trained in the home. So when you go out into public, you will know how to handle yourself, what to say, what not to say, how to, carry yourself, and all of that. And then my parents taught us the art of gifting, and so I talk about the importance of gifting and the importance of rewards as well. In my chapter, I talk about having a near death experience. You got to get the book in order to find out, um, all about my story. I go from one thing to the next, and I build up until there's a crescendo in my story. I talk about the beginning of love and suffering, because love is a good thing. But then, if you marry the wrong person, or if you marry a person that can't love you the way you need to be loved, then it goes into other areas. And so, in my life, my marriage went through some challenging times. I talk about married life. I talk about some great losses within the marriage. I talk about the children, and how, um, they called me drive-through delivery woman, because God blessed me to deliver 9 children, well, 8 children, smoothly. And then my last child ended up in having a cesarean birth. And I talk about losses. I talk about evictions. I talk about miracles, because miracles do still happen. I talk about being in tough situations and then God showing up. It is important to know that you have someone fighting for you when you're going through that tough trial and tribulation. I talk about the dismantlement of my married union, how devastating it was and how frustrating it was. But then I talk about God sending help. He never leaves us in the battle. And my mom always said, God always cushions the wind that blow. And so I tell you how he cushioned my winds, and they were devastating at times, but then he cushioned them and he made them bearable. I talk about trouble doesn't last forever. Sometimes we feel like trouble lasts forever, but it really doesn't. And so I just think that you would benefit a great deal by reading my story. My name is Sandra E. Jackson, and the E stands for ecstatic, because I am ecstatic to be alive through everything that I went through. I'm just here to let you know that you can make it through whatever test and trial that shows up in your life. You're going to make it. Um, I have a favorite quote, if you don't mind. It says, I will ascribe to love myself morning, noon, and night. And that's a fact. It's better to love yourself than to hate yourself. And that's a quote from myself. So I hope this has blessed you. Um, and the Cinderella monologue is basically stories that you've never heard before from individuals that took the time to bodaciously share their stories with you in a transparent way, and in a way in which it's not rushed. A lot of anthologies are rushed and the stories are short, but this story, it gives you time to familiarize yourself with the author in a way in which you will feel like, wow, I wish I could meet her, or it feel like I've met her before. Olivia.
Oh, Sandra, thank you so much for that synopsis of your chapter. What a thrilling read it's going to be. And the trajectory of your life, going from the wealth and, this abundance life of being with your parents and siblings, and then to going through these major challenges and tribulations, and still like not abandoning God. I feel that you remain steadfast in your faith, even when it seemed like you wanted to give up, but like your faith was so strong
I
that,
want to tell you something. I never felt like giving up. I always said this to God. I thought I was your baby girl. What did I do? Have you ever questioned, like, what what did I do to displease you, to cause all of this to happen to me? Have you ever felt like that? Well, his answer to me, Olivia, was, it's not what you've done, it's that I was able to trust you to handle it all.
oh
And
my God.
so, yeah. And so, why not me? Who else could he choose to show men and women you can use decorum, tact, you can go through hardships and come out on the other end? You're not unscathed, but your story is not even for you. It's for the benefit of others that are going through the same things you're going through, to let them know they can make it. If the person in the insane asylum had someone like me to tell them, baby girl, you're going to be all right. It's not going to last always. Just hold on just a little while longer. Do you think they would be there? No. So God uses men and women all over the world to help others maintain and sustain life. If there were never a problem, I would never know that God could solve them. If we had the opportunity to pick our own lives, everybody would pick a life of joy and peace and happiness. And that would be a fictitious life. Since God chooses our path, we have to come up, rise up to the occasion. We have to be strong enough to say, I got this. God trusted me to handle all of this. I'm going to do it a good job. I'm going to please him. Yeah. I'm going to fall down on my knees. And so what helps me is my prayer closet. I have a prayer closet. I go in my prayer closet, I turn the lights off, and I commune with my creator, and I ask for his guidance and his direction. I ask for him to come and sustain me, to help me through every obstacle. I get some tough things, you know, um, that I encounter. But I always know one thing: I'm not alone. And this Cinderella monologue is going to help you know that you're not alone, that life is worth living, that you can do this. Because guess what? Through all of my tests and trials, I never thought while I was in the moment that I would get a vacation for 8 days in Cancun, Mexico. So,
Wow.
how did you get to Cancun, Sandra? Oh my gosh, God. So he orchestrated my baby son to sign up to a professional football team in Cancun, Mexico. And he said, Mommy, I want you to come to one of my games. I'm like, God, how am I going to do that? Yeah. I bought my ticket. He paid part of my ticket. I stayed in the best resort ever. I lived like a queen for 8 days. Why? Because God cushions every wind that blows. Cool, right? He never puts more on you than you're able to bear. He only gives you what he and you can handle. And so I'm a living witness that if you trust and believe in God, no matter what, I was evicted, and you have to get the book in order to find out the storyline because it's intricate. It's not just a simple eviction. No. And it wasn't just one, it wasn't just two. So To lose everything, Olivia. Can you imagine working so hard and gaining all of this stuff, right? And then losing it repetitively? What does that look like? How did you handle that, Sandra? Things are only things. That's what I learned through everything.
So not only did you get home training, but you also got God training throughout your life too, and being prepared for this moment in time. And I love your ministry. I mean, it's so powerful to see you as a woman involved in ministry as an evangelist.
Yes,
So you're totally inspirational. Um, there was something else you said. So you said just now, like you have a dedicated prayer room. I love that. Like just a
yeah.
dedicated prayer room, your prayer closet that you'll go and commune with God. And at the moment you said that, like I just immediately thought of this verse is that, your words are like a lamp for my feet
And a light into my path.
and a
I'm
light
going to
unto
hide it in my heart that I might not sin against my Creator. He loves all of us so much. And if we only knew how much He loved us, we wouldn't go through on the level we go through. It's only we only go through on that level is because we don't feel loved. My God, I feel His presence even right now, Olivia.
I do too. I do too. I get like just the chills thinking about it. Because
Oh my God.
this intersection of women authors coming together, like you said, audaciously being brave enough to step into their story and sharing it. I mean, I feel like that's divine intervention, right? That we all got to come together at this moment in time. And how do you feel like the alignment, like what in what ways do you see the alignment with God's vision?
I think it's huge. Women are strong people. We are um, the epitome of life itself. We can see from a different lens, put it that way. So the alignment of God is because He knows there are men and women out there that need the storyline of each author. And so when this book goes live, oh my goodness, the exact people that God had already planned to get this project will be in line quickly purchasing this book because they know this is a God project and because it's going to strengthen and empower and enlighten them and catapult them to their next level. So I love the obedience of every woman. That's what I look at because each one could have turned it down and said no, right? You could have said, no, I'm not interested. I'm too busy. I already have something going on. You know what people say, my plate is already too full. But look at each lady that took their time. And I need to tell you this, I had to go to places that I didn't want to go to in order to bring my part to the world. All right. I had to shed a few tears when I was writing my story. I had to revisit some sensitive topics and subjects that I thought, I didn't want to deal with them anymore. So I put them back there. But in order to help and to minister and to empower people, you have to be raw and authentic and real and genuine. And so I had to go there just for you. And I would like for you to write a review and tell us how you felt while you were reading our stories, what it took you to, if it helped you, if it catapulted you, if it enlightened you. It's very important for us to get that feedback as well, because when we're writing, and doing our assignment, we have you in mind.
Fantastic. And let us know too if it shifted you in any way.
Yes, yes.
And Sandra, I'm just watching my news feed and like this just came in. Major announcement. I want to give you a big shout out because this is happening in real time, folks. Sandra Jackson has now been featured in the magazine Powerful Wopad, WOPAD. Congratulations. Oh my gosh. And I didn't realize that you're a breast cancer survivor.
Oh, totally. Yeah. 4.5 years, almost 5. Yeah.
Tell
And
us
that's
more
another
about this magazine. What does it stand for and how it feels to
women of,
be
yeah, it's
featured?
women of power and dignity. All right. Um, because this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I am featured in this amazing magazine with Pastor Elaine Harvey. She does quality work. And if you would like to be featured in the magazine as well, reach out to me and I will make that contact happen. My Facebook handle is Sandra Rumph Jackson, RUMPH. And yeah, that's only the cover, but there's another part to it as well. And I have an article in there, and some pictures and my books as well. And so yeah, I'm just honored. When you do things God's way, you get God's results. And that's a little quote from my mom. um, she said that often in the home. Do things God's way so you can get God's results. And this is my life right now. It just seems like every day I wake up, there's something new. That's because I'm trying my best to do things God's way so I can please Him. I want to represent Him well on the earth so I can make it to heaven because that's my destination goal, you know?
Oh my goodness. Wow. What? That just came through. So you guys heard it here first. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Sandra. And I love
Thank
that.
you.
I mean, that is a quote to pass on to your children, right? Do it God's
Yes.
way to get God results. Um, so in the time that we have left, I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about the offer you have for everyone. And this is so incredible because, I mean, even prior to Cinderella Monologues, you're a very prolific writer, author yourself. You get other authors to contribute to your own books, and you do something very special called the November book tours. We've got the link here. We're going to drop it, and we promised you at the beginning we're going to drop the link. So we're going to put it in the chat right now for you. And please, Sandra, just give us a little bit of summary of what to expect with that November book tour.
So I host Sandra's Authors Forum for other authors, entrepreneur businesses. Um, if you have a passion out there and you have a product, I welcome you to my show. It is phenomenal. I am on radio, Awesome God Radio, and that's an award-winning station. I am also on Kingdom Purpose TV, and I reached number one status on both platforms several times. And so, what I do is I bring you visibility. I put you in front of the people so your products can move. All right. And so for November, I have a discounted special rate just for you. And the link will be in the comment section. So it is the November special tour, book tour, and you can sign up on the job form, submit all of your information, and you can be on my show for 30 minutes. If you would like an hour spotlight, then that is a different link. Reach out to me and say, I would like for you to interview me for an hour. And we have a ball. I have a team that we work well together with, and we host an important show just for you. And then that show ends up on YouTube, and we share the link with you. I create flyers so you can circulate and invite people, and we do as well. And so, yeah, the interview, it's fun. It's low key. In depth because what I do is my next interview will be, excuse me, will be with, I'm doing two. I overbooked myself. So this is one of the books I will be interviewing her on Wednesday, this coming week, this week, Wednesday. And the title of her book is Coming to Loving Yourself. Teaching, we were talking about love, right? And so it is important that we love ourselves. So I will be doing that at 7 o'clock, but at 8:30, I will be interviewing a couple who have been married for 54 years. Yeah, 54 years and 29 days. And so when I asked her, she said, she gave me, I said, how long have you been married, Miss Dixon? And she said, 54 years and 29 days and 4 months or something like that. And she said, and I'm still in love with him more now today than I was then. So I can hardly wait to interview them. But my calendar is full up to November. And so if you want the tour, that's on Wednesdays. But my normal schedule is every Thursday at 8 o'clock for an hour. All right. So I invite you to come with me and allow me to delve into your life, and interview you on my show.
Thank you. That's such an amazing, incredible offer, Sandra. And I am just so feeling blessed, in our group of women authors for the Cinderella Monologues. We've got so many diverse talents and programs and offers for each other. And then not only that, but for the audience, right, who may be watching. I mean, if you are a writer yourself, you're an author yourself, you've already got published books, why not take advantage of this special offer from Sandra and be part of the author forum? So I love that you provide that service. And, we're so blessed to have you in our group to extend the exposure and the life of the Cinderella Monologues well beyond this launch.
Yes, because we learn from each other, and so that's what life is all about. But I am the author of a lot of books. This one right here, if you don't mind, is my newest project, and this is an anthology. If you can see that, of 20 authors, and so they share their life stories, and all of the topics are on the page. And then you see in the middle what we were talking about, love. See that? So go now. It's on Facebook Live. It's on Amazon. All right. And we, guess what? We made international bestseller and best author and best book with this project. So I thank everyone that helped us with that feat, because it wasn't a small feat, right? And then I'm the author of Tidbits of Wisdom, and that's I wrote that with my sister Beverly. Tidbits of Wisdom, a gem a day. And you can find all of my products on my webpage, which is sandrarumph.com. So that's SANDRARUMPH.com. And I hope you're blessed. I've gotten rave reviews and so many testimonials about the stories that I share in my books, that it has empowered them. And let me share this with you. I got a call from a friend. She said, "You just brought tears to my eyes, and I haven't cried in years."
Amazing.
Wow, isn't that amazing? So it makes me feel really good when I get reviews. It makes me feel like my work is not in vain, right? And that I am obeying my assignment.
And that your story impacted someone for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
yeah.
that book that you just showed about the life after trauma, I think Mila is featured in that one too. So
Right. So Mila is featured in there, and her chapter is about from poverty to wealth, and she tells her story of how she suffered tremendously. And so our story is the flip. I, I was born into wealth and then suffered, but she suffered first, and then she came into wealth and married a fantastic husband that she loves so dearly. You know,
excellent. Yes. So I hope that you're beginning to see, if you're watching in the audience, that there's a lot of cross collaboration going on, because it's such a special community that Mila and Sandra provides. And I think it's wonderful that we can all come together and share in these projects, right? There's opportunities all around you. And like Sandra said, it's up to you if you are going to answer the call. Excellent. So thank you so much, Sandra, for being with us on this author spotlight. I am so appreciative of your conversation and the lessons you dropped in for us today. And so please remember, Sandra E. Jackson. E stands for ecstatic. I'm always going to remember that. Yes, it's Sandra E. Jackson, E for ecstatic. So please get a copy of the Cinderella Monologues. It's going to be released on October 22nd, 2022. And you can read all about her chapter and be inspired and also have a shift in your own
Yes.
perspective. All right. And we're going to just show that link one more time. So if you're an author, you'd like to be part of the author forum, please visit this jot form link so that way you can get all the details. Just copy and paste from the comments and chat as well too. So we hope that you get on the book tour and let the world know your message, your story, because it does matter.
May I say one thing? To those who desire to become an author and it's always been on your mind, now is the season for you to start your journey of authorship. There's room out here for everybody, and your story is not like anybody else's story. And so don't feel any pressure. Just start typing. All right. Just go to Word, pull up a Word document, and just start typing and let everything flow through you. And before you know it, you'll have a book.
Well said. That's solid encouragement, Sandra. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to play our outro clip and we'll see you tomorrow for another author spotlight. Take care, everyone. Bye bye.